You do now.
How are my levels?
They're fine.
How are my levels?
They're okay.
So they were fine. Now they're just okay.
They downgraded a little bit.
Interesting. It's messed up.
By the way, we are
recording. So normally that's a bit. I genuinely didn't think we were recording that time. Welcome to the light banter phase of the Brothers Game podcast.
Isn't that the whole podcast?
With me, Nicolai, and my brother, hence the name Brothers Game. Brian. And that's the episode. Thanks so much for joining.
Wow.
It was a corker, this one.
It has been about a month since we last recorded, so
Has it?
Yes.
That's crazy. What's happened? Nothing. I'll tell you what happened.
I've done plenty.
You know what I did today? I watched the first episode of King of the Hill, which is just funny on its own. Because I've never seen a full episode of it.
Oh,
before.
wow. Yeah. Only the memes.
I only know it for the YouTube poops, especially Boggle. You know,
Yes.
that whole. I almost called it
one.
Hank of the Hill because that's what the name of that YouTube poop is. Anyway, the pilot is insane. It had one of the first scenes in the pilot is like a really well-known meme, which I didn't know was in the first episode. It's when he like goes into Bobby's room and he's like, "What are you listening to there, son?" And you know, he's like, "Oh, I like this new age of music." You know that meme at all? He like puts the headphones on.
Sure.
It's just like terrifying.
Yeah.
And they just put audio with it. So there you go. Same. So that was an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what I've been up to. God dang it.
I started and finished. Well, I guess I had already started it in the last recording, but I finished Tales of Symphonia.
Oh, good.
So that was my first Tales game.
Yeah, did you mention it on the podcast?
Yeah, I mentioned that I had started it.
Okay.
I was
finished
very
it pretty
early
quickly.
into it. Yeah, it was about 50 hours.
Really?
Yeah, just under 50
Didn't
hours.
seem like you were playing that long. I guess you played it a lot, though. You had some free time.
Yeah. Yep. I used up
that
most
like?
of my vacation time for the end of the year. So.
Oh, that's true. You've had a bunch of days off.
So.
Weren't you off today, too?
Yep.
Nice. Although we're recording this at night.
At night.
This is the first time we've
This
done
is the
that.
latest we've ever
This is
recorded.
the latest we've ever recorded. It's like 4 a.m.
No,
That's not
it's
true.
not.
Why would mom text me? She knows we're recording. Gosh, ridiculous.
Wow.
It's messed up.
So yeah. So I've seen the Tales of Zestiria anime, and I saw that before I played this game. So like with Final Fantasy, there are themes that are similar, but there's obviously there's no like continuity between
Yeah, it's like a whole
Symphonia
new
and
thing.
Zestiria. They're like completely independent of each other. And even like the magic systems aren't necessarily exactly the same in each. So
very much like Final Fantasy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like because it's not even necessarily the same world, although but again there's some similar themes.
Yeah.
But
like
yeah. This was fairly unique as far as game mechanics go. I haven't played another RPG that was exactly like this one. I've played several that are similar in many ways, but so it's not turn-based at all. So combat is.
So you hated it.
No. Sorry, having to clear my throat. I have some
You're claggy.
phlegm in my
Don't
throat.
say the word phlegm on an audio podcast.
Phlegm.
That's almost as bad as eating on a podcast. What if I just picked up a Big Mac right now? Anyway, continue. I should start doing that. I should start eating on the podcast. Please continue.
Alienate the few people that listen.
Yeah, that's my goal.
So not turn-based. combat is instanced, so like you come across an enemy walking around in the like overworld, and then it goes into a battle sequence. Yeah. And so you can only control one of your characters at a time, really, like as far as their like basic attacks and stuff. But you can issue commands to each of your team. You can also just set them to just attack freely, and they'll just like use moves of theirs.
Yeah.
Typically, if they have spells, they'll cast them. And then as far as like your basic attacks, they work a lot like Smash Bros.
Okay.
Side A, up A without a direction, and then B for all of those as well.
Okay.
B is assignable, so
that is a bit different.
Yeah, so you can assign it to a skill or a spell.
So it's sort of also a fighting game.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Interesting. Are there complicated combos at all, or like in a fighting game?
Apparently, yes. I didn't know how to do any of them, and then I watched a YouTube video where someone was using them. Like, oh, that'd be cool if I knew how to do that.
Yeah, gotcha.
I still
If
don't.
you do
but
quarter turn, AA, down, left.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how to chain skills. Apparently, that's a thing you can do, but yeah, I don't know how to do that. So,
no wonder some of the bosses were difficult.
only one boss fight was truly difficult.
Okay.
All the rest, honestly, pretty easy game overall.
That's really nice because that the game doesn't expect you to be really good at it.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
You kind of don't have to really learn exactly how to play and exactly how to min-max everything or anything like that.
That's like Kingdom Hearts, where to beat the main story, even on proud mode, you don't really have to learn how to block. Like, you don't really have to.
Yeah, I don't know. I there are some bosses I think I might not be able to beat on proud.
Certainly, like the data battles and stuff, but
well, yeah, but
like main story stuff.
But like Zaldin is a hard fight in Kingdom Hearts 2.
You just gotta learn how to do him, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was hard on normal, let alone proud mode.
Yeah, especially early on.
Yeah.
Now, no problem.
There was only one fight in the game, and I can't. I don't actually want to spoil the story at all, in case there are people that want to eventually play it. Because
people love this game too.
I hadn't played it for the first time until just a few weeks ago. So I will say though, there is a fight in the game. It's a one-on-one fight, which is unusual. Usually you have your team with you.
That's cool.
It's a one-on-one fight, and this guy can use both physical and magical attacks. And so you're supposed to be able to land a combo on a caster, and that will interrupt their spell.
Brian's dying tonight. That's okay.
I just got stuff in my throat. Apparently.
Nice. There's gonna be a lot of cutting around that.
We'll
just leave it all in.
I'm not even sick or anything.
We'll see.
I'm just yeah.
You're just throaty today.
Yep. Anyway, you're supposed to be able to interrupt a spell with a chain of combos. I could not figure out how to do that. So every time he used a spell, it hit me.
Yeah.
So that's the only boss fight that took more than 2 tries, and it took like 7.
Gotcha.
But I got him. The last boss was easy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of games like that.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of an anticlimactic final boss.
It's like, yeah, he had more HP than every other boss in the game, but your gear is so good by then, and you eventually wind up with like 8 party members altogether, and so there's several party members that I just never used in the whole game.
What's the max party size, though?
4.
Oh, okay. Can you switch out the main character?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
And in fact, I wasn't the main character for a large part of the early game.
Nice. I kind of like when you can do that. Like you don't have to use Cloud.
Yeah.
You know?
I was a character other than the main character for the most part. And like all that really did was just mean that I was directly controlling that character instead of the main character. The main character was still in the party and he was still fighting with me. But this character had both physical attacks and magical attacks. And so that was useful to me to have manual control over, whereas the main character is pretty much all physical. And so just having him as just an off DPS was helpful early game. But then the character that I was leaves your party for a long time, for like a large portion of the game. And so
Interesting.
I couldn't beat him anymore.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And
That's like putting all your effort into Eris.
exactly. And well, I wanted to avoid that, but I didn't look up
you
anything
didn't know,
before
yeah.
the game because I wanted to go in blind. And
That's part of the experience.
putting everything into that character was an unfortunate mistake.
I've never played a Tales game. I've had Tales of Symphonia, but the 3DS version forever since
Yeah.
it came out, basically. 'Cause I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of that RPG. Nah, I've not touched it.
Yeah.
though. So maybe someday.
I've heard good things about some of the other Tales games, and now that I've played
people really like
enjoyed
those.
Symphonia, I think I might try some of those others out. It's a game where, so like as far as the story goes, there's a lot of twists and turns. What winds up like the backstory you hear at the beginning of the game is not at all true.
Spoilers, but okay.
Well, no, I'm doing this in a way as to avoid spoilers. I don't think it's a spoiler to say it that way. You're introduced to a backstory, as you often are in fantasy stories. You're given like the lore of the world and how everything got to be the way it is, and it's all a lie.
Nice. That's awesome.
What's actually going on is very different. There's a character you meet, and it's great because like it's like an assassin type character, and it's trying to kill you or one of your party members at least, and they fail spectacularly.
Nice.
They like fall down a hole literally.
Very anime.
Yes, and like right from the get go, you're just like, oh, they're gonna join the party, and sure enough,
You
they
just know.
do.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long. Like even one of the characters, she's like, oh, when they become our friend, we should.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just like going right into it. That's awesome. I love the thief and assassin characters.
Yeah.
They're usually very cool characters. I always loved Yuffie from FF7.
Yeah.
Always my favorite. So nice.
But yeah, so there's not, so like the way Final Fantasy has worked in every game since either 11 or 12. I didn't play 11, so I don't know what happens in 11.
Yeah.
I know
11's weird.
I know
so.
up to 10 with like Titus
Of
and
course,
Waka and
yeah.
everything, and how and the battle system between 10 and 12 is very different.
Yeah.
Because 10 and earlier have the
The
classic turn-based
or time-based,
I forget what they call it. It's
Yeah.
time-based battle system or something, but BTS or whatever.
Yeah. The
like
BTS meal. Yeah. I liked the sweet chili sauce. That was good.
Yeah. Where like you attack and then you have a cooldown and then you are able to do an action again. And that applies to like
Right.
all of your actions, including attacking, items,
Anything,
magic, whatever. And then in FF12, it's
Totally different. Yeah.
you have an auto attack.
It's a lot more action-y.
Yeah. You have an auto, and like you get in range of an enemy, and then your character starts auto attacking as they have time, as their turn comes up.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah.
can, at any time in the battle, basically pause it and then queue up an action. And then when the cooldown ends, it uses that action automatically.
Yeah.
So in Tales, at least of Symphonia, once you are close enough to an enemy to hit it with your normal attack, you can just start hitting the attack button and your character will just start attacking.
Yeah.
And as long as your attacks aren't interrupted, you can essentially attack as much as you want. They aren't instantaneous, but they're pretty quick. It's not a very long gap between attacks. And then you can essentially pause the battle at any moment to use items and stuff. And also, and I think this is true in Final Fantasy as well. I'm trying to remember, but you choose which character uses an item. You don't just say, the player, am going to use an item. You're like, this player is going to use an item on this, or this character is going to use an item on this character.
Yeah, I know that is. I know F7 at least definitely did it that way.
So I think that's true of both of them. Yeah,
which is nice. I like that because. Yeah.
Well, because like also
sometimes you want the main one to attack.
Well, and it's important when you're like, okay, this character is in the middle of casting a spell, so it'd be silly to have them use a healing item on me.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. There's only 2 characters that have healing abilities at all, so you want one of them in your team at all times.
Yeah, definitely.
And the main character does not get any sort of healing abilities, so yeah.
There's pretty much no RPG where you don't want a healer on your team.
But it's weird because in most
or at least
RPGs I've played, you can multiple characters can learn healing abilities, and like as far as I'm aware, I don't know of a way to make any of the other characters learn healing abilities. So
interesting. Yeah, in Kingdom Hearts, all you got is Donald. So
yeah. Well, I mean
but
Sora can learn
Kira,
so, whereas Lloyd cannot learn any healing magic as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. Oh, he cleared his throat again.
Shh. Silence. Traitor.
Whoa, it's Kingdom Hearts reference. Nice. So cool.
Oh, we still haven't done our Kingdom Hearts episode yet.
Really?
I don't think.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
we need to do that at some point.
I like Kingdom Hearts.
We need to actually plan it.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those. Yeah. I'm one of those guys who likes it a lot.
Yeah.
I understand the story.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Being a spellcaster in this game is really annoying because it's really easy to interrupt a spell if you're an NPC. If you're me, it's actually quite hard.
At all. It's impossible.
But if you're an NPC, it's actually quite easy to interrupt a spell. And so if you pretty much are relying on spells, you've got to really get good at avoiding getting hit. Because otherwise they'll just interrupt your spell and then you're useless.
Dang, that's messed up. That's
especially because some of them have a long cast time, several seconds.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
is there different cast lengths for different spells? Interesting.
And it was not very clear to me how long it was for each spell. I just kind of figured it out by
listed on there or anything.
Yeah, not that I could remember.
Interesting.
I don't remember seeing that.
But, I'm sort of glad right now that we don't have a huge fan base.
Yeah,
because we would get a lot of people
saying, no,
like,
that's
you are the biggest idiot. You just hit B 4 times.
No, that's part of the thing is that we don't research any of this beforehand.
Right. We just sort of jump in. You can scream at us if you want.
No,
post it on the subreddit.
This is not a pair of experts explaining to you how games work.
Let me tell you.
This is
how
a couple of dudes
spell.
that play video games sometimes and talking about them.
Yeah. So feel free to let us know if you know what combo breaks a spell.
Yeah.
It's just BB up B, idiot.
BB up /X.
Yeah. Backslash.
Yeah. Backslash. No, that's Xeno whatever.
That's Xeno whatever.
I don't know the difference between Xenosaga and Xenoblade.
I don't know what Xenosaga is, so I know Xenoblade. That's the one. That's the Shulk one.
Okay. I just know there's also a game series called Xenosaga.
I think that might be older.
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe that refers to the series.
Maybe. I don't know.
Xenoblade is the...
Yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Although there's a sequel as well, which people like. Mm-hmm. People like Xenoblade. New shirt coming soon.
No.
Not true. Oh, man.
But yeah, Tales of Symphonia, that was...
Why don't you clear your throat again?
No. It's fine now. I will never clear it again.
And I will never clear my throat again. That's nice. So,
got some Polar here.
Did you like it?
Yes. It was all right. It was like I don't know, 7 out of 10 or whatever for me.
Oh, we should start rating games.
I have trouble doing that. You know what? I don't like 1 through 10 rating systems. I never have.
I like
it's too granular. It's just too granular.
You should do 1 out of 100.
That's even worse. That's even more granular.
It's got decimals.
No, you know what I like? I like 1, 2, 3.
Whoa.
Or technically, I
me.
even prefer 0, 1, 2. 0 bad, 1 okay,
bad, 0
2 good.
bad, 0 bad, 1 okay. I feel like that would be bad for me because all 90% of games would be a 1. Yeah. And then there's 20 games that are a 2. So
Interesting.
that would not work for me at all.
Is 5 enough for you?
5 is better. 5 is better, especially if it was 0 through 5. Which is might as well be 6.
Yeah.
And if you're doing 6, you might as well round up and do 10. So that's our rating system.
No, it's not.
Welcome to the Brothers Review Games.
On my anime list, so I kept for a while.
Whoa, is this the anime episode sequel?
No.
Oh.
Well, sort of. I'm going to talk about anime a little bit
probably.
too. But I was keeping before I started using myanimelist.net, I was just using an Excel spreadsheet because I do that.
You're one of those people.
Yeah.
You're a spreadsheet person.
And for a while, I was giving every anime a 0, a 1, or a 2. Mm-hmm. 0 was I didn't like it. 1 was it was okay. And 2 was I liked it. Mm-hmm. Eventually, I did cave and add a 3.
For the really good one. For the masterpieces.
Uh-huh. I needed a way to differentiate anime
for all the Nichijos out there.
Yeah. I needed a way to differentiate anime like Death Note, Trigun, and Nichijou from anime like School Rumble or something.
Good.
Good, but
watchable, but certainly not Death Note. Yeah. Gotcha.
But
gotcha.
Ever since I've started using Mal, I have been trying to actually rate. Yeah, my anime list, Mal.
Firefly?
No.
That's his name.
I know, no. I've been trying to get used to the 1 through 10 rating system.
You cleared your throat.
Stop it.
I was already laughing, and then he cleared his throat.
Don't make fun of me.
So, Mom, Brian was being mean to me on the podcast.
She knows.
Yeah, she listens. She knows how mean I am. I'm the worst.
So, yeah.
Would you say we're a family-friendly podcast?
Yeah.
I would as well.
Yeah.
Don't tell YouTube that though. It gets weird.
Don't categorize us as for kids.
No, absolutely not.
But
we are not for families or children, but we are Christian and family friendly. So, maybe listen to us.
Yeah.
With your kids in the room. Especially if they like video games.
Yeah.
So if you're a 40-year-old husband who has 2 or more children, you should listen to the podcast.
If you have kids that won't go to sleep, put this on.
Put this on.
It'll bore them to tears.
They'll be like, my God, get me out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right. What were we talking about?
Video games,
JoJo,
probably.
JoJo Part 6?
No. Yeah. Although we have been watching
that. My gosh, it's so good. It's so good.
I was trying to go in order, but that's fine.
Oh, with what?
Of just chronologically what I've been doing.
But I've been doing the JoJo thing.
Well, no, I mean that was a lot more recent than anything else I was going to talk about.
I haven't done a lot else, so I have to talk about JoJo.
Okay, talk about JoJo.
It's pretty cool. Highly recommended. Okay, I know it's a meme. I know there's a lot of memes around JoJo, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's actually good. Just watch it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't skip parts. Get through part 1 and 2. It's worth it for the lore. Watch it.
I don't know what it is. A lot of people don't like part 1. I love part 1.
First of all, it's only 8 episodes. Get over it.
Yeah.
And it's so vital to every other part because Dio is mentioned in every other part basically. Yeah. And it's just you have to know the origin story, of the Joestars and why it's a whole lineage thing. The whole show is about the lineage of a family, which I think is super cool. Mm-hmm. And just this through the centuries, there's been a war between
Now,
two people.
the
That's awesome.
the
I love
bizarre
that.
part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, they're not kidding around.
It is a
bizarre anime,
like,
and it
really
only gets
weird.
more so as time goes on.
Yeah, it's very weird.
It's like part 2 and 3 got weird in places. And then starting with 4, he's just like, I'm taking the brakes off and we're just going full weird.
Now it's weird. And part 6 is
Part 6 is no
weird.
exception.
My goodness. But it's awesome.
Yeah.
Jolene is so cool. She's the first, female lead.
Yeah.
And is amazing. Such a cool character. And so this is the first, that's not true. I think I did this part 5, but where I've read the manga completely. So I know everything that happens in part 6.
Right.
And you have no idea.
Right.
You haven't read any of it.
I haven't read the JoJo manga at all.
Yeah. So, Mom and my wife April are both watching it with us, and because they're both very into JoJo as well, and it's so fun to watch the reactions to what's happening because I know what's going to happen. But it's very fun to see it animated too. It's very different.
Yeah.
Very different experience. Anyway, if you watched it, you get it. It's very crazy and cool. And if you haven't, go watch JoJo. What are you doing with your life? That's it. That's all I got. What's your favorite part of JoJo?
3.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Don't ask me. I have no idea. That's too hard. Probably 4.
So, because I've had some time off, I was also when I finished Tales of Symphonia, I decided to work on a couple of personal projects that have been on the shelf since like 2008.
Dang.
So
Those things are dusty.
yeah. So one of them is when I was in high school, I studied Japanese throughout high school, all 4 years.
Weeb.
Yep. And I kept all of my handwritten notes and all of my course outlines from the class in a couple of binders.
And you had binders, yeah.
Yeah. And I have had the goal of typing up all of these notes, digitizing them, and like not just scanning them, but like actually typing them all out.
Typing them out.
And using that as a way to review what I've learned as well. Which it's been taking quite a while. I've still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Especially if you're typing in every page. I mean, yeah. And actually trying to reabsorb the info. Yeah. That's a lot.
Also, it's funny because like...
It's 4 years of schooling. So.
Yeah. Because learning a foreign language challenges your knowledge of your own language.
Yeah.
Like, what is an adverb, really?
Yeah, I barely know English, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been interesting. The other thing that I did is I put this together probably in 2008 or 2009 or so.
Half of you listening weren't even born.
Yep. I put a spreadsheet together and I started tracking all of my Guitar Hero 3 scores because here's what happened. In 2005, 2006, when I first got an Xbox Live subscription, I made a gamer tag. And then
as you do.
Yeah. And so our friend Alla would sometimes play online on my gamer tag because I had an active live subscription and he wanted to play with other people.
Dude, we got to get famous because then maybe Alla will find the podcast. That'd be awesome. Alla, if you're listening, we miss you.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
And there was a point where he actually got
Not the god, by the way. It's our friend Alla. Anyway.
Yeah. He got me to a higher ranking in matchmaking. And I had a lot of trouble actually beating anybody at that ranking. It was just a little too hard for me. And so I was like, okay, I've got kind of a mix of people's stuff on this account. So I'm going to make a new gamer tag and this is going to be just me. And so I did that. And the biggest reason for that was Halo. But at the same time, I had been playing Guitar Hero for a while. And so I had all this Guitar Hero 3 save data on my old gamer tag. And so I started the new gamer tag and I was like, okay, well, I'm better at Guitar Hero now than I was when I had that gamer tag. So I'm going to try and beat all of my high scores on every difficulty on every
set
song.
all the new scores. Yeah.
And so it turned out I had never actually finished that spreadsheet, so I finished it. So it had all my scores from all the careers and all the quick play on both gamer tags on every difficulty, every song. And I've been going through and trying to beat some of my high scores. I did beat quite a few of them, like a lot of them. There are some I don't think I will ever beat.
That are just impossible.
My score on the song, on the Dragon Force song "Heroes of Our Time,"
This is kind of cool. Yeah,
is higher than any score I can find online for that song.
Yeah,
at least for easy mode.
For easy mode, yeah, not for expert or anything.
On the score hero leaderboards, which are still up, you can still look them up. None of the scores are as high as the score I got.
Interesting.
And like, yeah, and it was on career mode, so cheats wouldn't have even worked, even if I had been using them. Which the only one I ever used was hyperspeed, and all it does is
make the board faster.
It makes the fretboard move faster, so that the notes are further apart, which made it easier for me.
Yeah, which I wouldn't really call that a cheat.
Yeah,
because that doesn't really make it easier.
Hard to kind of,
yeah,
but
I don't know.
It is different from the base game,
right?
So it's technically a cheat.
Yeah.
There's also like precision mode, which actually makes it harder because the note window is so tight.
The window's tighter, yeah.
Yeah. Because the note windows are actually quite loose and quite forgiving in Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah. Completely unrelated, but sort of. What if there was like a badge in Paper Mario that's like the opposite of damage dodge? That makes the action command like a smaller window, but gives you a benefit of some sort.
Dodge Master, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry. The opposite of Dodge Master.
So it makes it work even less often.
Harder, way harder to do.
You've got to like perfectly nail it.
But maybe gives you a +1 to it or something.
That'd be interesting.
Anyway, be very interesting.
Although, like, if you get the all or nothing badge, it's just like, if you miss the action command, you miss out on a lot.
I guess that's similar, but it's like, if it was all or nothing, but it also made it harder.
Yeah. Oh, put all or nothing badge on and no Dodge Master.
Yeah. Dangerous. But worth it.
That's if you want Paper Mario to actually be difficult.
Worth it for that attack power, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
But yeah, and so one of the keys. So when you play Guitar Hero, and you get good enough to play on like hard mode, expert mode, you get used to following the music.
Yeah.
And not just the notes on screen.
Right.
First of all, that makes Guitar Hero way easier anyway, is having a good enough musical feel and timing to be able to match it with the strumming.
Yeah.
When you get used to that and then you go back to easy mode,
it's the worst.
The music can make it harder.
Yeah.
So there was a point where I went into the audio settings and I just turned the guitar all the way off in the mix.
I don't want to hear it.
And just followed the drums, basically. And that made some songs on easy mode a lot easier to beat.
I want to be going 3 times faster than I'm going right now.
Because I kept doing it too early. And I'd miss a note because I strummed before it came down.
Right, you strummed on this note instead of the next note, basically. Yeah, definitely. Yes, when you're good-ish at Guitar Hero, easy mode is sort of difficult and very annoying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. So there's like 5 songs left on easy mode that I have not beaten the high score on from my old gamer tag yet.
So obviously Heroes of Our Time is one of them.
Yes. Heroes of Our Time. I think Operation Ground and Pound.
So Dragon Force in general.
Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Of course.
Halo Theme. We Three Kings.
So good.
Yeah. Basically all the songs on the orange tab
bonus,
on all the DLC songs.
Yep. Mostly free.
There was one song, Avalancha, on the bonus songs. It's the first one in the bonus songs list. Yep. It's a very long song.
It is.
It's not a particularly difficult song, but if you mess up, you have to do the whole thing over again. Because I was trying to beat a high score of mine where I got 100%. And so the only way to beat it was to just use star power better.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that took several attempts. And then even when I finally got 100%, I still hadn't beaten the old high score. And I was like, no. No.
Impossible.
But I did it. So I actually looked up some of the really old like Guitar Hero star pathing guides online
Nice.
where people like wrote, okay,
What's the ideal for Avalanche?
yeah. And I found one.
I gotta look at
and
my
I used it
game
and I
FAQs.
beat my old score finally.
You got the good strats.
Yeah. There were some songs that just didn't have an entry. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to figure it out on my own.
Wow. That's awesome.
On medium, there's only like 2 or 3 songs. On hard mode, there's only 2 songs, and then expert mode, there's like 10 or 12.
There's a bunch, I'm sure. Yeah.
But that's because like expert mode, there was a point where I had been playing expert mode for a while, and I made a new career mode. And played a bunch of songs on there, and I got a whole bunch of really high scores that I'm
We'll
gonna have a
never
lot
touch
of
again,
trouble
probably.
beating if I ever really want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero. And you're using my guitar.
Yes, because mine is
Interesting.
broken. It will not turn on.
Oh, it's messed up. That's an old. It's old.
It's not. It's actually not as old as yours though.
Oh, right. That's your Guitar Hero 5.
yeah.
One. I was picturing your black Les Paul one.
Yeah.
That's really old.
Or
I don't even know if
I
that
think it
exists
was
still.
Yeah, it could have been GH5. I think it might have just been around the Smash Hits era. But anyway,
I'm pretty sure it was 5, but
yeah. It is so worn out.
yeah.
It is just like all the paint has been.
Mine works. Does it still work good?
Yeah, it still works just fine.
That was my one. Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as worn out as
that
mine.
one. That one is from On Tour.
Yeah.
Not
World
On
Tour.
Tour.
Yeah.
World Tour. On
I
Tour
had a
is
World Tour one as well, but
DS
it
one.
didn't.
Yeah, I don't.
There
Something
was something
happened.
wrong with it.
Something happened.
Even from the
to it.
beginning, there was something wrong with it, and
Yeah.
I wound up not using it after a while, and then now I don't even have it anymore. I had that Les Paul one that came with Guitar Hero 3
Yeah.
for a long time, but
Yeah.
the strum bar was just
rolled.
totally destroyed by the time I was done with it.
Yeah, those get beaten up. Those guitars, like a real guitar.
Yeah. I'd love to, if I could find a Guitar Hero guitar that works on the older games and is in really good condition,
I
would
think that's pretty
consider
tough.
purchasing it. I think Retro Game Trader had one on the shelf.
I'm sure they
might
have
be
a
good.
few. I don't know how much they. Is that? It's like that's the kind of thing that could be really expensive for some reason, or it's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure, especially because
know-
there were newer games that came out after 3 and
I
stuff.
bet like the Wii ones are really cheap.
Oh yeah,
but
probably.
360
Especially because you need a Wiimote to use
Yeah,
them.
but all of them, the 360 ones are probably the most expensive because they were played the most, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that market.
Yeah.
The used guitar market. Not real guitars, of course.
Used
Guitar
video
controller.
game musical instrument
Yes.
controller
Yes.
input devices.
I think I heard they were making a new one
Oh really?
or like something very similar
Hmm.
to like the old style because now they're all those types of games are more real.
Yeah.
They try to like Rocksmith and stuff.
Yeah.
They try to like use actual instruments and stuff.
Rocksmith was very interesting.
They try to
'cause
actually teach you guitar,
I-
basically.
I played a
is
Rocksmith
interesting.
guitar, and it's literally just a guitar.
It is a guitar.
And you can just plug it into a regular guitar amp and play it like a real guitar.
Yep. Which is
Because
pretty
it is
awesome.
one.
Which is
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
But
But you want the 5 buttons.
I
also.
only played. I think I played one song on Rocksmith. It was very bizarre.
Yeah.
Because they've got to like find a way to notate which string and which fret out of all the frets, and there's like
A lot of frets, a lot of strings.
21, 22
Yeah.
frets on most guitars.
Yeah.
Instead
think
of
of
just
the-
5.
You think of that many frets in combination with 6 strings,
Mm-hmm.
that is hundreds and hundreds of possibilities
Yeah.
for where your finger can go. So yeah, I don't know how they would notate that.
Yeah, but like
In a
it's
game.
very visual how they do it. There's
I'm sure.
yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah, weird.
Watching someone else play it.
And I would guess that's not a good way to learn guitar.
I think it could be though
feel
because
like it would
your
give you
fingers are
weird-
on
Right. No,
an actual guitar.
Your fingers are doing the work, but it would give you a weird idea and weird visuals on how a
Yeah.
guitar works.
I do
don't
think
know.
it might make you overly dependent on visualizing it
Yes.
though.
On, like, chord charts and
because
stuff.
like on Guitar Hero, obviously if you can't see the fretboard, you can't really play the game at all.
No, it's pretty much
but
impossible.
like
Yeah.
I've never like memorized a Guitar Hero song.
No. Like I'm sure there's some people maybe who could do that.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
have a blank fretboard and still play the song. But I don't know. That's crazy.
I just even some of the easiest songs, I like. You could ask me, do you know what the first note is? No.
Nope.
Do you know what the last note is? No.
You're like probably green, I would
Yeah.
assume, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I haven't played in a long time. Did we do? We've done a deep dive on that, right? Or at least we've talked
We've
lot
talked
about
it in depth.
We had some days.
Yeah.
We had at least a year or so. We were very deep into it.
Yeah, that was like most of
I was
2008.
a teenager. I don't know. I don't remember.
Most of 2008.
How old was I? 14, maybe.
Yeah, because like I was out of work for 6 months, and that's what I did. I spent a lot of the time that I was out of work playing Guitar Hero, which is why I got good at it. Because before then,
You just had time.
Yeah.
Yep. What's that like? I've had Pokemon Shining Pearl, which I'll talk about. I'm sure at some point in this episode. I've had it since the day it came out. I got it at launch. Started it the day it came out, and I've been trying to play it as often as possible. I just beat the 4th gym.
Wow.
Like, it's taking me this. Most people are done with the Pokedex, have 100 shinies. Like, most people online are like, a few hundred hours into it already.
Yeah.
But I got a low plenty, so
There you go.
pretty cool.
I mean,
That friendship,
there you go.
I'm on it. Yeah, I need to. Time is difficult,
Yeah, y'all been busy.
especially because I have Pearl, so I have Palkia, and he does space, not time. So, yes, we're very busy during the holidays. My catering company,
Yeah.
so which is good, of course.
Right.
That means money.
Yeah.
Which means you can buy more Pokemon cards.
Them dollar
So-
bills.
Oh, I'll talk about this just briefly. So there's been a bunch of reprints of older Pokemon sets, which is great. Like booster boxes are coming out of old sets.
Nice.
Like all prices are going down. It's really good for the hobby in general. One of them is a set called Cosmic Eclipse, which was the last set in the Sun and Moon series. It's about 2 years old now, just over 2 years old. And it's one of the best sets of all time.
Yeah.
It has very cool, they're Pokemon cards, like actual monster cards, but they're full art and they have some sort of scene between that Pokemon and one of their iconic trainers. So like there's one of Piplup and Dawn, and then there's Mimikyu and that purple-haired girl from Sun and Moon. There's like Magnemite and Lieutenant Surge is a great one. And I got one of these reprints. They're showing up in little Pokeball tins. There's a fluff in the air. I thought it was a fly. It's a little fluff. It's on your shoulder. You see it?
Yep.
Not a bug. We're good. It's distracting, okay? And so I got a hold of one of these tins finally. And it's actually the first Cosmic Eclipse pack I've ever had, which is, very sad. But I really want more of them. But a booster box of them is still like $500. Absolutely insane. Long story short, first pack I opened, I got the Pikachu and Red full art, secret rare. And it's like the most expensive of all of those Pikachu and trainer cards, or Pokemon and trainer cards. And it's just like the first pack I ever opened. So it's absolutely awesome. Yeah. And so there you go. I've already won Cosmic Eclipse. So there you go. I did it. Very cool. So I will be on the lookout for more
King
of
of
those.
the polls.
King of the poll. That's right. I'm incredible. I did get my chase card for Evolving Skies as well. If anyone is familiar with that, it's an Espeon card. And it's just very stylized, very beautiful. Very, very nice.
Nice. I like Espeon.
Anyway, that's my Pokemon adventures.
Cool. I watched So there's this has almost become its own subgenre of anime, but VR MMO anime, where they aren't necessarily stuck in the game; they're just playing a VR MMO in an anime.
They're just playing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's colloquially known as bofuri, or
They're often too long of a title.
yeah, the title is crazy long, but in English
usual.
it means I hate getting hurt, so I maxed out my defense. And it was very cute and fun. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Nice. That is quite good.
Yeah, it made me think about like MMOs as portrayed in anime, and
Not realistic at all.
generally not, but it is very fascinating to me to watch. I will say, so there's these screens within the show that either happen at the beginning, middle, or end of the show, but where there's a scrolling thing of like players chatting.
That's cool.
So I don't know if the subbers are just taking artistic liberty, but these, if not, these are the most accurate chats I've ever read as far as how normal people in
Actually
everyday
chat.
life actually talk to each other on the internet.
That's cool.
In the year 2021.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Just like some of the terms they use, like, wow, that's like
Very
something
recent.
that people would say now,
Yeah.
which I don't see that kind of relevance.
Do they
very
ever say
often.
poggers?
No, but like,
Because
Like-
that'd be awesome.
they're like comments you would read on Reddit.
Yeah. But like
basically.
real comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty
So that
cool.
was
That's
very
nice.
interesting.
That's nice. A little more immersive that way.
So like there are a couple of things like there are a couple of things that are really cool in MMOs and anime that aren't necessarily all that practical.
Yeah.
That wouldn't necessarily be that practical.
Very
to,
much so.
Do in real life, such as completely one of a kind items that only one player in the whole game has.
Weirdly enough, it's usually the main character too. Crazy, right?
But yeah, or unique skills or things like that. Like on the one hand, I think in real life that would actually be really cool in a
Yeah.
game. It's just that
It's not practical.
no game company would ever do that because then like every other player is going to be like, I want that.
Yeah, it's just I mean it kind of is unfair.
Yeah.
So
But having a
unless you have a really strong artistic vision, I guess,
Yeah.
as a creator,
But
but
having a greater degree of uniqueness in games where like
What
you
if-
can do something that very few other players have ever done.
it would be cool if maybe you could do completely unique items, but like thousands of them but they're all completely unique.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, this guy has this thing, but you have this thing that's also unique.
Well, and also
Like, that'd be
another
kind of
thing that might be
interesting,
cool
maybe.
is just like aesthetic
Purely aesthetic,
variations
yes.
of one item. So like you have an item that's not necessarily all that uncommon in the game,
Yeah.
and pretty much every player can get it.
But you're the
you
only one with
might
this
be the
color.
only one that has this variant of it,
Yeah.
or you're one of like 5 players in the whole game out of hundreds of thousands who has this one
I think that'd be
variant.
very cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Or like it could be even small stuff like little charms or something that are completely unique, or
Yeah,
just a little something little
But
maybe.
stuff that's unique is
That'd
cool.
be cool.
And
'Cause you could
and
be
that's
proud
a
of
way you
that.
could do that without necessarily making everybody unhappy.
Now that I've said that, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And I wish that was true in something.
Yeah. Another thing though seems to be like unique skills, like only this player in the whole game has
That's
this one
that's
ability,
ridiculous.
which that's not a thing ever.
Yeah. Not gonna happen.
When a player is especially powerful, they're able to like one-shot entire groups of players at once. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
a level 80 character in a game like World of Warcraft, for instance, who's got epic gear on from like an endgame raid dungeon versus any like level
Bunch of level 5s. Yeah.
yeah. Like obviously they'd be able to one shot any of them, but they can't just use one ability and boom, wipe out a whole army of low level characters. Like it's just, you don't get that kind of AoE abilities.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
you shouldn't.
Right. Otherwise, they'd use those in quests and stuff, or in when farming to farm super efficiently.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
it would
lucky
just break
if,
the entire meta of the game. It makes no sense.
You're lucky if you can take on like 5 enemies at once in a game, and if you can take on more than that, it means you're fighting enemies that are so low level that they aren't worth your time.
Yeah, then
in
there's
terms
no point
of
in fighting
experience
them.
or materials. So, yeah. And then and another thing I notice in anime MMOs is you have like one player who is a higher level than any other player in the game.
That like being high level is very rare, basically.
Yeah.
Which is
not true. Like
not at all.
when I played World of Warcraft, it had been out for a couple of months. It wasn't brand new, and there were beta testers and stuff too. So it's like people had it. But like if I went into a major city in the game on a server that was only like medium high population, I could within a few seconds see half a dozen max level characters. And then I go to a different major city and see the same thing. And that's just, they're everywhere.
It's just how it is, yeah.
It does not take very long to reach max level in most MMORPGs. So, like, because you've got players who just don't have anything better to do.
Yeah, that is their entire lives, basically.
And so they just are like, oh, I'm just going to dump 120 hours into this game over the course of a couple of weeks, maybe, and reach max level. And there are enough people with those means that unless your game has a very small player base, you're going to have plenty of max level characters. But also,
very true.
Yeah, it is. The idea of it being a rare thing is cool, but like it's just not realistic.
Does not make any sense. Yeah. With anything with a large player base, it's just
and
not
an
happen.
MMO without a large player base is just not something anybody wants to play.
Scarcely an MMO at all.
Yeah, exactly. Which is part of why like there can never actually be all that many successful MMOs at the same time, because all the players are going to go to one.
Yeah, like WoW's player base has gone down and FF14's has gone up. Like it's just how it is. Yeah,
which is a little bizarre because it's an old game.
Yeah, but they just keep updating it. There's a new thing that just came out, like a new expansion or a new story or something. People are freaking out about it.
Yeah.
There's like memes about the queue just getting into it.
Oh yeah.
It's just impossible.
Yeah.
There's just so many people.
You just can't log in.
I'm like, that's crazy. Like how cool for the company a little bit though. Like, dang, that must be exciting.
I remember times when that happened in WoW, but it was rarely for more than like 15 minutes and only on like high pop servers.
The biggest ones.
Yeah. I was on a server called Ice Crown. And it's when I joined, it was a medium high pop server, and I think it maxed out before I quit. So it got pretty popular.
Pretty up there.
I did like that there were kind of some celebrity players. Nothing to the degree of celebrity players in anime MMOs,
fiction,
but as far as real life MMOs go, these guys were fairly well known amongst the server.
Legends like the guy from Spy Kids 3, played by Elijah Wood.
Yeah, but like there was Lord Ragnarok the Heavy.
Whoa,
I say that
cool
because obviously the name Ragnarok was taken,
Ragnarok.
and so it was just Ragnarok.
The Heavy.
Yes, he was given the Heavy was not part of his name. That was a title given to him by players on the server.
That's how famous you are. You
he
have
had
a cool
a
nickname.
fan guild because he was part of a guild, and they were doing like endgame raid dungeon stuff. And then there was another guild that was called the Zealots of Ragnarok.
Wow, amazing.
They just existed to do his bidding.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Eventually, they renamed themselves to just the Zealots, and they just kind of diverged.
We're gonna branch off.
But because he was one of only like 2 players on the whole server that had Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker.
Blessed Blade of the Windseeker. Yeah. Very nice.
Which is, and that's another thing is like, in anime MMOs, it's like, oh, you beat this one boss that wasn't even all that hard. Here's this crazy legendary weapon that nobody else in the game has. Whereas in World of Warcraft, it's like, no, okay, you need to somehow schedule with 39 other people to fight this boss at this time of day, and you have a chance of getting this one drop that is part of the crafting that you need to build this weapon.
Yes. Yeah, you're welcome.
And here's this quest chain that you need 12 other people with you to do in order to just like
intense.
That was the kind of stuff you needed to do to get a legendary weapon. Like anime characters don't have to work hard enough to get their legendary weapons in MMOs.
In general, they don't have to work hard enough for anything. Yeah. I've found.
It's either they are pushed to the point of near death in real life to do this one thing, or they don't have to work hard at all.
My favorite part of Sword Art Online is when he gets stabbed in a parking lot. I think that was awesome. I was like, now this show rocks because he's bleeding out for real.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, that time where Kirito almost died, and you're like, close.
So close.
It was so close to almost being good.
Bad. He almost sacrificed himself. That's cool. Breaking news.
I was wondering where that bit was going.
This just came to my desk right now. I can't believe it.
Oh man,
Brian, did you know that you would if you
spit it out, man.
You remember that? You've seen that, right? The little kid. You
probably not.
You would. Okay. New video, new trailer for Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Ooh, fancy.
Where they showed a new Hisuian type of Pokemon. A new Hisuian variant Pokemon.
Okay.
Can you guess what it is?
No.
Nope, you can't, because there's like 900 Pokemon. It's Hisuian Voltorb.
Okay.
Of all things.
All right.
You know, because they've shown that prehistoric Pokeball.
Uh-huh.
What if that Pokeball was a Voltorb? Well, if he was, he would be electric grass type.
Interesting.
Does that blow your mind? Because their Pokeballs are made out of wood, probably. I think that's why. And the best part is, I'm going to show you a picture of him right now.
Okay.
He's very happy.
Aw.
Look at him. He's like, hi, I'm Electra. I'm Voltorb. I'm happy now. Here's another picture. Look at him. Look how happy he is. Look at him.
Back then, we used to just throw husks of corn at each
other. Or wood and metal balls that shoot electricity. Very cool. Love his design. Everyone's talking about the meme is basically that he used to be happy and then just over time became a begrudging, angry old man. So
that's my new headcanon for Voltorb.
It makes sense. But honestly, electric grass, very unique, very cool type combination. I don't know of any others.
Yeah, I don't know of any off the top of my head.
Not off the top of my head. Maybe it might exist.
Yeah.
But that's a rare one. That's very interesting. I haven't looked up what kind of weaknesses that has.
Probably fire, ice, ground.
Immune to ground. Wasn't grass weak to ground?
No, not grass. Electric is weak to ground.
Is weak. That's right. But is grass weak also?
No.
You sure?
No, I'm pretty sure it's not because
grass is strong.
Because grass poison isn't weak to ground, even though poison is weak to ground.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it's still immune then.
Well, it's not immune,
I guess I don't know type
combinations.
I don't know type combinations. Well, anyway, I think that's a very interesting time combo. That's coming out very soon. That's coming out next month.
No?
Which is pretty cool. I got it pre-ordered. I'll be talking about it.
Nice.
That's for sure. Talking about Pokemon. Because we don't talk about that enough.
Right.
Hey, speaking of, I've been playing Shining Pearl a lot.
Right.
And by a lot, I mean a little bit. Which is the opposite of a lot. Half of that time was trying to level up my friendship with this freaking Baneri. Like, I've seen it online too that people are like, dude, how long does it take to evolve something with friendship? My goodness. And so in every previous generation, the amount of friendship you needed to evolve was over 200, I believe.
255, right?
It's like 255 is max.
Oh, okay.
I think you only needed like 220 or something like that to evolve. I don't think it had to be max. And there was a bunch of ways, you can help that in Shining Pearl and Sparkling Diamond. I don't remember what the diamond one's called. Whatever. I have Pearl because I like Miss Magius, who's also on my team. She's awesome.
Right.
She's so strong. Oh my gosh. She learns Shadow Ball immediately and just wipes the floor with everyone.
It's like when I got Ghastly as
so
in
awesome.
a randomizer as my starter.
Oh, that's a good starter. So anyway, in Shining Pearl, it's only like 120 friendship to evolve.
Really? Wow.
They cut it like crazy, but still it feels like it took forever. I think so. My Baneri evolved at like level 32-ish.
Okay.
Which isn't crazy, I know. And like I did it before the 4th gym, so that's pretty good actually. But it certainly felt like it took forever.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Lopunny's really good. I really like her. Good physical attack. Learns a lot of fighting type moves, which is nice because I don't usually have a fighting type. That's a rare type for me to use. But it's been nice to have.
Fighting is a really effective type.
It's very good.
It's very good.
It's a very good type, but I never use it. It's sort of like ground.
I mean, I don't really either, but that's because I play Gen 1 more than any other gen, and I typically use a water and electric type and maybe a flying type.
See, I play other generations of Pokemon. So.
What's that like?
Yeah, I actually like ghost types because they're good now.
Wait, what?
I know, crazy. Yeah. I also have, speaking of hard to evolve, I went with a Magikarp also.
Oh, cool.
So it was
good.
like, I decided I wanted a Gyarados. And like, the EXP share helps a lot, obviously.
Right.
I don't have to actually use the Magikarp, but his growth rate is so slow that it takes so long.
I was looking up.
He was like 6 levels behind all the time. And
I was looking up level growth rates on Pokemon because I was curious.
Oh, let's talk about this because you blew my mind.
Yeah.
But it's something that's really obvious now. Now that I know it, like, you know what I'm talking about. So I'll just say what I thought.
Okay.
I assumed this my entire life, and I just never looked into growth rates. I knew it was a thing, knew nothing about it. I assumed that if you have a starter or something, any Pokemon that evolves like 3 times, or especially a Pokemon that evolves through a stone, I assumed that its lowest form, the basic Pokemon, has a certain growth rate that's pretty quick to level up. But when you evolve it, it takes longer to level it up.
Right.
I assumed higher evolution, more EXP to level up. That is absolutely not the case.
Right.
That has never been the case, and I'm insane. But that just makes sense. That just made sense to me. I don't know. So I would wait to evolve things with a stone because I'm like, oh, I'll let it level up a bunch.
And all you were doing was making your Pokemon weaker.
Yep, it was just weak. No, absolutely no point. Now with moves, that makes sense. If you wanted to learn a certain move,
right?
Sometimes they learn moves earlier.
Like, and what was weird is I think it was either in Red and Blue or in Yellow, but Charmeleon learned like Flamethrower
Way
at
earlier.
a higher level.
Oh, really?
Than Charizard.
Oh, interesting.
So like there was, it was weird, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
But Charmander learned it at an earlier level, so that was the one reason to keep Charmander was to learn something like Flamethrower at a lower level.
Yeah, there's a few like that. I forget which one. There's one of my mains I always keep as like a baby until.
Yeah, if I'm playing in Kanto or if I'm playing in Kanto and I want a fire type on my team, I like Vulpix because it learns Flamethrower at 35.
Yes, very early.
Because Ember is just weak. It's not a very strong move. And there was nothing in between Ember and Flamethrower for a very long time. So
even now it's not
now there's not
common.
many, but
yeah. I mean maybe Fire Fang, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Flame Wheel, of course.
Fire Punch if you have a Hitmonchan.
Fire Punch. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all 9 of the starter of Gen 1, like Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, like all their evolutionary lines and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
are all in the medium slow EXP group, which that is by far the most common group, is medium slow.
Do you know of any that are especially fast?
So the fastest in Gen 1 are Clefairy, Clefable, Wigglytuff, Jigglypuff,
Interesting.
and Chansey.
Interesting.
They are the fastest by far.
I would assume because they give so much EXP.
Yeah.
I would assume they took longer to level up.
I don't know if
That's
maybe they're
interesting.
related, those two
Maybe.
things that
Maybe.
Chansey gives so
High
much
growth
EXP
rate
and also
gives more
levels
EXP.
quickly. Yeah.
Maybe.
On the Bulbapedia page, they did the math of like if you had a Chansey that was traded and you did this, and it showed how the maximum possible EXP yield from one battle, and
Wow.
it was ridiculous.
It's like thousands, I'm guessing. Yeah.
And
That's
then,
very cool.
And then also the absolute lowest EXP yield. Now there was a bug with EXP that in Gen 1, which is actually why you never see any level 1 Pokemon ever, is because there was a bug that could deadlock the game, I think, if you had a level 1 Pokemon.
Nice.
So they just eliminated the problem by just making all Pokemon level 2 or higher. And starters were always 5 and higher.
That's funny.
It wasn't until like Gen 4 or later that they introduced level 1 Pokemon.
That weren't breeded?
Yeah, well, because even in Gen 2, breeded Pokemon were level 5. So yeah.
But about Gen 3, I would assume they were level
I think
1.
they were still level 5.
I
I
don't think I've ever breeded in Gen 3.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
I haven't done Pokemon breeding since Gold and Silver back in like 2001.
Wow.
That's how long it's been since
I've done a lot of breeding since then.
Well,
don't take that out of context.
no, yeah, I haven't. Like, I was going to, I think, in Sun and Moon, but I was able to just get everything without doing that. So
I've done a ton in Sword and Shield, especially because I've filled out the Pokedex. I've breeded multiple shinies, all kinds of stuff. Perfect IV Pokemon. I have a perfect IV, Eevee, and a Vulpix that I did just for fun, basically, just because it was cool. Yeah, that's funny.
Yep.
Out of all, I have a main team, right? I have this perfect team, and out of all of them, I would only have one be shiny because otherwise I prefer the regular forms of them. That's
generally been the case for me as well.
There's a lot of shinies that suck. So
almost every time I've seen the shiny form of a Pokemon, I've been like, this is cool, but like I never like the color scheme as much as the original.
Yeah. Sometimes they're very cool. I like some of them a lot.
I think Glaceon's
nice.
Glaceon's
probably one of the best.
Really cool.
One of the best evolutions. The best evolution shiny is Sylveon, I think. That blue is really. It's like all her pink becomes blue.
Oh yeah,
that's really nice.
I don't remember what that looks like.
There's Umbreon, of course.
Umbreon, yeah,
classic one. Just the blue lights all over. Very cool. Poor Espeon.
Yeah,
one of the green ones.
Green.
I hate the green shinies, man.
Yeah.
It's the worst. One of my favorite ratio of Pokemon to shiny Pokemon I love that have a good shiny is Flygon. I think Flygon's shiny is awesome.
Yeah,
he's mostly like blue and orange. He's really good. Yeah, I like him a lot.
My Lodic is pretty cool shiny.
Oh yeah. I didn't mention Poliwhirl. This is one I like a lot. It's just a very light blue.
Yeah,
instead of the darker blue. Looks very good. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yep. Anyway, shiny hunting is apparently also very interesting and very easy in Diamond and Pearl, the new ones. So that's cool. There's a new like Poke Radar type thing that you can do that chains pretty well, apparently.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people I saw on Twitter who like basically just started their playthroughs because they've been soft resetting for a shiny starter like since the game came out.
Wow.
It's like 4,000 tries later, I got my shiny Piplup. I did it. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We're running out of time here. We're like done. An hour went by. Well, one more thing. There's a cool theory.
Okay.
In Diamond and Pearl that they're new things. They were not in the originals. And people are pretty sure there's stuff pointing to Generation 9. Little hints, which they pretty much always do that. Like I know I think it's Let's Go, or Sword and Shield, one of the two. Not Sword and Shield, duh. It's either in Let's Go or it's in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. But there's a poster in a building that has a Gigantamax Toxtricity.
Oh, interesting.
Like way before Sword and Shield came out.
Wow.
And like often they'll put little tiny things that are like hints to the next generation. And so there's this poster in a building in Shining Pearl and Diamond where it's just like sort of this night scene, like this little painting, but it's very Italian in vibe, which I totally agree. Just looking at it, you're like, that looks Italian. Maybe France, but definitely Italian. Yeah. And there's a building where the, there's always like a Game Freak building, basically, that has the, creators. And there's one with like the director of Pokemon. I forgot his name. Yeah. He's very well known. I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, and when you talk to him, he says, "Ciao, welcome to the thing." Like as an Italian greeting. And first time he's ever said that in a game. That is not like a catchphrase of his or anything.
Interesting.
So everyone's like, which is pretty decent evidence, I think, actually. So pointing to possibly an Italian themed region in Generation 9.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think Unova was French.
Yes, Unova was French.
In Gen 5.
Not Unova. No, that's Gen 5. That's New York based. But Lumiose City in X and Y is France. That's Paris. That's, what is that? Kalos. The Kalos region. That's France.
Region,
yeah, that's France.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, maybe keeping with the European vibes from Galar, which was the United Kingdom, obviously. Right. Yeah, that'd be really interesting, actually.
No.
There'd probably be a lot of water,
yeah,
I would guess, in an Italian region.
Yeah, there could be.
Because there's a lot of islands and stuff, Naples and everything. Yeah.
It'd be cool.
It'd be very interesting.
It'd be cool to see like a
meatball Pokemon. Spaghetti and meatballs Pokemon.
Pizza
Come on,
Pokemon.
pizza Pokemon.
It'd be cool to see like a Norway, Sweden, Finland region.
Yeah, very like Netherlands, like very cold.
Yeah.
That could be like a Christmas town with all these Delibirds. Yeah. There could be a special evolution for Delibird. Ooh. Whoa. Yo, Nintendo, call me. I got ideas.
Yeah. Speaking of Christmas, it's almost Christmas.
Yeah, as we're recording this is the first day of the 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah.
Because there is only 12 days till Christmas.
We're going to have to do our third Christmas
spoils episode.
Which means we're about to celebrate the 3rd year of the podcast.
Yep. Weird.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if we had more than 2 listeners.
Yeah. So tell a friend about our podcast.
Tell a friend. That's a great idea. No, it's true. Word of mouth is the best way a podcast spreads. That's just a fact. So if you care at all, tell somebody who listens to podcasts or likes video games about your favorite brothers other than Mario and Luigi. We're the brothers game, and we're gaming. But not Neil. Neil Gaming.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and follow us on Twitter for more slappers like that. It's at the Brothers G Pod.
We also have a subreddit, Brothers Game r/Brothers Game Podcast.
We made a subreddit. Yay! Yeah. How cool! Get your karma over here.
Get your free internet points
in the r/
by posting something
Brothers
funny.
Game Podcast. Make a meme of us.
Yeah.
There's never been a Brothers Game meme. We refuse to create them ourselves. No. So go forth, my loyal subjects.
Go forth and bring me more hearts.
Bring me more hearts. That's a teaser for the next episode. Not
Is
sure.
it?
Probably not. No. The next episode is probably the Christmas one. Yeah. So
we do have to plan that one though, the Kingdom Hearts one.
I'm gonna have to brush up a little bit.
Yeah.
On my lore.
Ooh.
Yeah. I could probably do one of those videos that like summarizes all of Kingdom Hearts, like people do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those. Oh, I've been watching these videos. They're not as good as I thought they would be, which is a shame. They're people explaining the icebergs of games. The icebergs. You know what that is?
So like the like surface level stuff on top, and like big.
So it's like there are these images that people have been making that are all these levels. It's usually like 6 levels or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like surface level knowledge of the game or like very easy trivia,
No.
And the bottom is like the weirdest, like often conspiracy theory-ish, weirdest stuff about that game you could think of. And they're kind of interesting. Some of them are more interesting than others. One of the most interesting was actually the Animal Crossing one.
Oh,
Just because there's a lot of weird secrets in Animal Crossing, especially the earlier ones. And then the Super Mario 64 one is also very, very weird. There's a lot of like creepypastas and stuff surrounding Mario 64. I don't know. I might get into that sometime.
I guess when a game's been out for like 30 years almost.
And it was early
25 years.
And it was early internet. So it's like early message boards and weird, people telling tales in the schoolyard type of deal.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Dude.
I might talk about that at some point.
The weird stories that kids came up with about stuff in video games.
Yeah. I mean, the most legendary is probably Mew under the truck.
Yes.
It's just one of those things where like everyone heard about that somehow. So weird.
It's one of those things that spread without the internet, really.
Yep.
I mean,
true.
it's not that the internet didn't exist at the time. It's just that so few people used it comparatively.
Oh, did you know that in Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee and Pikachu, there is a lava cookie underneath the truck? Like,
wow.
They clearly know about that, you know? And it's a very weird item that is not from that, from the Kanto region at all. I forget what region it's from. But very rare item. It's the only one in the whole game.
Wow.
And it's under the truck.
Nice.
It's like, that's awesome. So that's a fun little Easter egg. I learned that from an iceberg video. So there you go. Anyway, that's the epilogue to the podcast.
All right.
We're really going to go now. Or will we?
Bye.
Keep listening and find out.